Hello, welcome to potentially the first video on this channel. What? I have been a YouTuber for the last 10 years and it's been fun, but I need a clean break. I want to start anew and talk about a bunch of other things that I've been excited about. And this actually delves perfectly into the topic of this video, which is about how do you find a career path? How do you stick with a career path when you have so many interests and maybe so many passions? And I feel like so many people make videos about how to find your passion. But what if you have like 30? There's so many things that I like to do. And even as you follow this channel, you'll discover that I'm trying to be a full-time artist at this point after being a YouTuber and a professional skateboarder for the last 10 years. So I'm clearly someone who loves to take my hobbies and try to make it something new and different and exciting and find patterns with it. But it's all about discipline at the end of the day, which I think is very difficult for creative types of people. So I actually have 4 strategies that you can use. The first one is the one that for me works the best, but I've done a lot of research on this, so I have found that the other 3 seem to work better for more people overall. So the first one is just trying to embody the kind of person you want to become or the person you want to become, but it doesn't actually matter that much what you do. Like, I have found that when I am really stressed and when I'm trying to figure out life, when I'm trying to make something work and get really good at things, I almost lose all joy in the thing. Even if it's something that I know that I love, I know that I'm like passionate about it, even with skateboarding or whatever, I will still get super burnt out because there's going to be difficult moments in anything you do. So what is the thing that keeps you moving forward? And I think what is the element that actually makes things feel like they're more worth doing is if you're trying to embody someone. Now, you can actually look to other people to try to embody this, or you can look to just a version of yourself that you admire. And I think obviously that's the healthier way, but someone like me who's used to a bit of social comparison growing up, I know I should have outgrown that by now, but that's sort of the way I was raised. I kind of do look to others and I go, I like what that person's doing. If I want to be successful in the same thing they're doing, then I'm going to need to build a life and a strategy and a structure that allows me to get there. And then I just try to think about the one thing I can do every single day where I show up. And if I do that thing, then I am slowly embodying that person. So if it's someone who's in really, really good shape, as long as I'm showing up every single day and working out, it doesn't matter when I look like that person, because I know I eventually will if I just stick to the format. So the first one is have a person or a version of yourself that you aspire to be. Maybe you can put them on a vision board, put a picture of them on your desk, which might seem a little weird, but I have maybe 2 or 3 influencer type people who do things that I'm like, oh, that seems pretty fun. I want to eventually make a living doing that. I have that person saved in a Notions document to where I can like see a picture of them. Okay, the second way you can figure out what you want to do is called the M pillar. Now, this has 2 different approaches to it. One is you think of 2 qualities that you would like to have or a job you want to have, and then you think of the 2 pillars of who you need to be to make that job happen. So if you want to be like a fitness influencer, you clearly need to learn how to do social media or make videos in general, and you need to be in really good shape. So those are the 2 pillars. And then the M in the middle is actually the bridge that connects the 2, which is you, but it's also all of your personality tropes, your niche, the little things you love. So if you also really like the idea of leaves and you're really into like nature and specific leaves and picking them up and observing them, that is sort of like the third element. That's you. That's the spice in the middle. That's the bridge. And that's the added feature. So you can either start off with the idea of what you want to become, build the pillars to become that thing, or just start with the things you're already good at. Start with the pillars you already have and then connect them. So if you happen to be good at games and you're also good at cars, maybe you can make videos playing a certain game that talks about cars. I don't know. You have to figure out the connection yourself. And that's why I don't really like that one as much, because it's pretty ethereal to me, but apparently it's been very useful for a lot of people. Now, the third one I really like, but when I was kind of drowning in my own, I'll just do whatever just to get moving forward, it was kind of hard for me to think of what the perfect day looked like, but it's actually writing out the perfect day. So writing the perfect schedule. If you had to repeat this day 30 times in a row, a lot of times in your life, write that out, write it by the hour, like 7 to 8 a.m., 8 to 9 a.m., and write down the entire day and be like, this would be perfect. I would end the day being really happy. Again, think about this logically to where if you are literally frilling about all day, like you're not actually making anything, you're not like doing something that feels productive, you're not exercising, will you actually feel good at the end of that 7 days? That's the thing. So think of a structure that you think you'll be like, this isn't the most fun at all times, but like throwing a workout in the middle, sure, I don't super want to do it, but afterwards I know how good I'll feel. And then after 7 days, I'll be much more proud of myself. So build out the perfect schedule. Write that down. Now, the last thing I want to say is a piece of advice that I find super useful. And it's more like a piece of advice to get you to stick with one of the first 3 things, but it's don't be an ass. And this is quite literal because there's a story about a donkey, AKA an ass, that's standing in between a pail of water and a pail of food. He can't decide which one to get, so he dies right in the middle of starvation and thirst, when he could have just simply walked to one, gotten fed, walked to the other, and he'd be perfectly fine, and he could keep doing that for the rest of his life. That, you can't think about life as this one career choice that is definite. That's the one thing you can do. I actually think careers should kind of be thought about in 5-year bursts, and you can think about, do I want to keep doing this? And you can sort of decide from there. And sometimes it's much harder to do that. You have a job where you're really, really burnt out. You kind of like it. You're not really sure what to do next. I mean, there's a lot of variables on top of this, but it's good to start anywhere. Give that your full attention and direction. And if it's not right, after you give it some trial and error, after you give it some time, after you give it some pain, after you give it some boredom, then you can move over to the next thing. And the way that I advise this is actually just to create a goal. Like, create one simple goal that to you tells you that you're moving forward. So if it's like a YouTuber, since that's what I've been doing for a long time, the goal should literally be, I say literally too much, I gotta stop that, 30 videos. And then no matter what, you have to finish 30 videos. And even if they all get 1 view, 2 views, 3 views, you realize you hate the process, you hate everything about it. You want to create a goal that you can ideally finish within 6 months. Speed run it or try it as hard as you can. Give it your time, give it your attention. Try to make every video or piece of thing you make better than the last thing. And if it doesn't work out, then you'll know that you actually tried. So creating a goal that you have to accomplish no matter what, and then being like, how far off the mark am I? Like, did I get any subscribers? Did I get 1,000? Did I expect 100,000 and I only got 1,000? If you're pretty far off the mark, then I think that's actually a decent time to pivot or move on. But as everyone says, if you stick with something and keep doing it and you don't stop trying, you're not failing, right? You can try something past death and you technically never failed because you're still trying. That's it. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Have a good one.